I'm starting to wonder what this place has in store for me on like a horror perspective. Like, is there going to be a monster? Is something coming after me? For a while there, they were hanging over my head the idea of the Wolfman attacking me, but he's apparently dead now, without ever actually having a scene where he attacks me. Which was a surprise. I'm not exactly complaining. I'm not really the biggest fan of running around in a labyrinth away from a monster you can't fight back against while it destroys you over and over again. It can be scary for a few minutes, but then once... It often falls apart relatively quickly, because like the guy catches you sooner or later, and then you're like, oh no, he caught me! And then you die, and then you respawn, and do the same room again, and it's like, oh, well, there goes the tension. It's the constant threat of almost getting caught that was more effective. Like, Outlast 1 was really good about having long stretches where you'd be sprinting away from various enemies as every door is being beaten down, and you're like, oh my god, where do I go? Block this door and run around here, and oh no, they're coming from that way, turn around and jump over that thing, and... Like, Outlast 1's little tense moments where most people don't get killed, but there's constantly a fear of getting killed, was like a really good balancing act for the tension. That usually didn't happen in games like this. Or like that. Meanwhile, this game's one monster section pretty much was that one weird phantom monster guy chasing me around in like the office area, and then later on, for a very, very brief moment, in the other outdoor environment. And that guy doesn't scare me at all. When we saw him like walking down a hallway and he was glitching out and stuff like that stuff was creepier. But once he's just a monster that grabs you and holds you by the neck and then you die, I'm like, I'd be totally fine with never seeing that again.
It's never that simple.
Is it puzzle? Are we doing puzzle? Interesting. So it doesn't go up and down when I'm moving it. It very briefly goes down up when it's all the way there. There's those switches over there, there's these things, so I gotta put those... I probably have to find the things that go in those things and put them in. Or something. Huh. Also, by the way, I'm totally cool with this game just not being a horror game. It's literally not why it's probably a weird thing to say, but it's not even why I started playing this game. I was like, ooh, cyberpunk game about brain hacking. Okay. I'm on board. And then I was like, it's a horror game. I'll deal with it. Don't particularly have strong feelings about the genre. That part of the genre, I mean. Hey, plugs. Oh, you can pick one up. You can pick up one plug at a time. Interesting. They're fuses. Because yeah, it's slowly exploring through apartments, and this nightmare stacks place is really the primary appeal here. Her eyes glow. She's a spiritual healer, apparently. Nothing else here seems to open, so I need to have some idea of which plug I'd even want to use. Okay. I imagine I put it in here somewhere. Does that unplug? Nope. But you. I figure either that's correct or I have to flip them. Maybe? Yeah, I guess that's the backup generator part. Power socket. Ah, I found the switches. There we go. Wondering where those were hiding. Fuse. Ah, I probably flip all the switches, then find which one of them doesn't flip correctly or something.
The fuse is busted. I need to find a spare.
So that's the busted fuse. So I need specifically... No? Oh, now I can't read it anymore. Alright, so 35... 20... 20. 10. 10. So 10, 10, 20, 20. So it's a 35A then. Apparently they're in pairs. What do I have? That's a 10A. So not that one. Drop that on the ground. Let's go find a 35A. I think I've said this a few times before, but I have a weird attraction to horror themes generally, because I'm generally not actually there to be scared, but just that I enjoy the aesthetic of horror type stuff.
Let's fire it up.
I kind of like playing games and watching movies that kind of wallow in the dark and the macabre, more so than I'm actually particularly caring about like jump scares or whether or not a monster chases me. So you? Did I do it right?
Let's get out of here.
Is it time for a monster to show up now? I'm not convinced there won't be one. So far, that one guy's only showed up during dream segments, though. He's never been in real life. It's while I was hacking the second and third people.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Well, it's not your fault, sir. Oh, hey, it's the thing that was busted up. Now we can open you. Monster. Let's go back. Out of curiosity, I feel like there was a door like right here, right? Got really dark when I walked in here. It's weirdly dark. Just thought I'd check up here and there. See if there's any surprise stuff that opens now. Is that what I crawled through? Yeah, it is. Nope. No surprises. No new developments along the way. Well, I don't know why the game's getting so dark right now. Like, I've been through these areas before, and I don't think they were fading to black like that before. Can you get up? Oh, hey. That's a name. I can't even try to pronounce some of those names. The rough thing is just knowing that, once you're dealing with, like, Russian and Polish and stuff like that, like, you know that those letters aren't even being used the same way as they are in English. So it's like, there's no point in even trying to pronounce it because you know that they're not even using the letters for the same meaning and same sounds at some point, so it's like a fool's errand. Ta-da! Let's keep going deeper. It was a very long trek to find my son. That's what this still boils down to, right? Like, we're still trying to find... Yeah, this entire game is about trying to find our son somewhere in here. It's framed like a police investigation, but honestly, it's just a father looking for his son. And the extent to which it has anything to do with being my job is really just nothing. It's more like my job just equips me with tools that might help me do this. 042. Now we're just back in the basement floor? Are we in a different part of the basement floor? We must be, because these are all here. Taxi driver man, 25. What was the one time the game really jump scared me? Oh, it was when I was in the kitchen, and like an entire person just flickered into the into one of the tables for a second and was gone. I'm like, what the fuck? I wasn't prepared for that even being a possibility. It never happened before or after, I think. Who's ripping doors off? Yeah, just in case you thought doors were gonna make you safe, here's a bunch of doors unhinged everywhere. Another point of no return! Graceful. Like a gazelle. Well, we're getting deeper. Am I gonna find Chris Walker down here? That was not a good time. So how you guys feel about enclosed spaces where the lights flicker? You a big fan? Oh, there they go. Goodbye, lights. Somehow I get the feeling I'm not gonna find the 10th level of, those damned spiders down here. Whoa! Blah. Blah. Hello, creepy cages. Probably full of rats or something? Does somebody train rats? Case log updated. Found Victor's hideout. Whatever he took from Adam's apartment, he likely stashed it here. So many cables. What are all the cables even here for?
What a place. Hard to believe anyone could live here.
How does he always have the same werewolf posters everywhere? Was I wrong? I was wrong. Yay! I found the 10th one. I thought I missed it. I was all set. What the fuck? What the fuck? There aren't walls? The level's called I Missed the Walls. Oh my god. Oh, alright, the wizard's up top. I'm this character. Oof. They're immediately chasing me. Okay, there's one important thing, which is that I don't have to get any money. That's the one upside. I don't need money, which means I can just go straight... Uh-oh. Yeah, this is gonna be a nightmare. The good news is I don't need money, so I just need to find the goal. I need to find a way to get to the actual guy. Must collect every sword just in case. You never know, man. Go! That was easy. Yeah! This music. Gay wizard techno party! Sunset! Fire festival. Well, that was not, no. Burning Man! Not Fire Festival, that one didn't happen. Flaming Sword, still. Don't hit your partner with a flaming sword. Always practice safe flaming swording. Alright, well there we go. I beat that forever. It's a surprisingly easy level. John Sebastian. What the fuck? That's weird. That name's gonna screw with me. What the With all the names that come up all the time, this specific configuration was going to happen eventually. So, oh god. Like, well over 10 years ago when I was signing up for Xbox Live on the Xbox 360, I came up with the username Sebastian SB, and I was at wit's end trying to come up with a name because the last, 12, I think, had all been rejected one by one. So, my username had never had that much thought put into it. I was using Sebastian because it was what I used in my German class as my name, because we all had to use German names, because that was a way to help pronunciation and help you be familiar with a bunch of names and stuff. So I cheated and picked the most obvious, easy one that everyone already knew without taking German class, because that's just a word you hear in Disney cartoons and crap. Or the one about the guy that gets sucked into library books, the book reader. No, it's not what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. With Whoopi Goldberg. So I wanted to have Sebastian as the name, and so I didn't want to have numbers in my name because I thought numbers in your name was stupid. Even at the young age of being a teenager, I knew no X's in my name, or underscores are fine, I guess, but no XXX and no 1337 or dumb numbers and shit in your name. So I was like, Sebastian SB, It's like my first initial and last initial if Sebastian was my name, which is not. And that's because, as you can see on my channel name, that my name is Keith Ballard. And so seeing Sebastian Ballard show up finally in a game is just fucking weird. It's just a weird experience. Okay, well, we talked to John Sebastian Ballard, CEO of Ballard Genetics and Augmentations, on the future of personalized modification and the fear of change. Tom Tumbaugh, Mr. Ballard. Please call me John. John, let me present you a hypothetical situation. Let's say your son turns 18. He comes to you and says, Dad, I don't feel comfortable with my body. I'm going to go to the nice folks at BG&A and have them grow tentacles on my face. Well, if he had the means to pay for the treatment, I would assume him to be a very smart young man, so I would gladly hear him out and do my best to understand his decision. You're dodging the question. I'm merely pointing out how unfair it is. It's always easy for rabble-rousers to say, what if it was your kids? But in truth, this conversation has been going on for hundreds of years. When the cybernetic revolution came about, there were people saying that we were all doomed, that we've gone too far. 100 years ago, a transgender person would be shunned as a misfit and a freak of nature, which thankfully seems outlandish by today's standards. There will always be people out there who fear change. But what if we reach a point where the rabble-rousers, and thanks for that, by the way, will be right? Is there a limit? Is gene splicing it? A very wise man once said that for us to be afraid of genetic research was akin to the ancient Chinese being afraid of fly kites, because one day they might be crashing planes. I believe this sentence to be true even today. In terms of shaping our genome, we have barely scratched the surface. And yet it's been being promoted as the hot new trend. We're seeing teenagers risk their lives by making these irreversible changes. Not at BG&A, we only treat consenting adults. That all well and good, but the technology is out there, isn't it? The cat's out of the bag. Come now, Tom, are you really going to make me use the guns don't kill people argument? I'm only wondering if you think it's responsible to promote it as a fashion statement. Please, you said it yourself. The treatment is irreversible and does involve a degree of risk, albeit small. Do you actually think anyone would make a life-altering decision of that caliber on a whim? You keep using the word treatment. Why? Because that's precisely what it is. Not really, though. I mean, it doesn't treat any illness. Of course it does. Frankly, I'm a bit shocked I have to explain it to you, Tom. When you speak of illness, you're clearly thinking of purely physical ailments. I'm certainly not trying to offend you, but I think it's fair to call that mindset medieval. So you're saying turning someone into a genetic hybrid is a form of psychotherapy. I'm saying that anything that helps a person feel at home in their own body should not be instantly discarded. So we should just jump in with both feet. There's no place for healthy skepticism. I rarely find skepticism healthy. More often than not, it's a refuge for the prejudiced and closed-minded. All I can say is, all I can ask for is not to vilify that which we don't understand. Do you consider yourself a prophet of change? I consider myself tired. It's been a very busy week. In that case, I'll let you rest. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for having me. Yeah, JSB is wrong. He's just wrong. Primarily this part, where is it? I rarely find skepticism healthy. More often than not, it's a refuge for the prejudiced and closed-minded. Fuck off with that whole part. No, skepticism is very important. You can't just embrace everything all the time. Everything needs to be questioned and tested and double-tested and double-questioned all the time. Otherwise, dangerous, horrible things happen. Obviously. See that thing I did? I said obviously, which is you're not supposed to ever say obviously. It's the opposite of being actually skeptical of anything. Nothing's obvious ever. I hate when people say obviously. I hate when people say common sense. I hate when people try to subvert or circumvent any amounts of critical thinking that go into things. It's frustrating. This dude's got a messed up screen, but somehow it only affects this side of the email thing and not like past that. Maybe it's like some sort of mod intentionally for the email client. Huh. The left side of this window is green, but in these ones, the left side of the right window is green. I don't think that was true on the other screens, but it can't be a screen defect because it moves based on where the window is. So my best guess is that it's a mod on how the screen renders windows, and that's intentional, like as a visual flair to help you distinguish one window from another one or something. Grocery list. Hey, managed to nab a new client. Guy's interested in pre-war transmitting equipment and he's got the dough to pay for it. Doesn't need to be mint, but it has to be in working condition. Here's a list of what he's hoping for. A B8X antenna, Minumo synth dual mounted receiver. It's probably a Numo synth. The M probably doesn't count. The bulky industrial one, not the one of those consumer models. Encoding chip, fusion battery, as many as you can find. Counting on you, buddy. Don't screw this up. Rob. Latest batch. Response. Victor, the parts you sent me last week were fucking useless. I managed to salvage the antenna, but the receiver was busted beyond repair and the rest were rusted all to hell. Where'd you even find this stuff? Did you dig it out of the fucking trash? Needless to say, the client's not paying for this crap. I'd offer him a discount for my previous stuff just to keep us in business. You're on thin fucking ice, my furry friend. You pull a stunt like that again, and you'll have to look for a new dealer. Please stop. Victor, this freakish charade needs to stop, now. Mom and Dad are terrified, and I don't blame them. The whole gene splicing obsession is one thing, but the packages you've been sending them? Whatever you think they did to you, this is fucking cruel and unusual. Vic, you're my brother, and I'll love you even if you decide to throw an extra leg in a set of horns, but please, leave Mom and Pop out of it. If you want them to accept you for who you are, just talk to them, help them understand. I know you're not delusional, so please, get back to your family. We're not your enemies. Hoping to hear from you soon. Anka. Ari Favor. Hey buddy, got your message. Frankly, it couldn't have come at a worse time. These past few months have been pretty hard. Eliza's out of a job, again, and with a baby on the way, so I've been pulling double shifts to save up some dough. We want to have the little one spliced as soon as it gets here. In other words, sorry, I just don't have that kind of money. It's not like I don't trust you, and I know you'll pay me back. I just can't help you this time. Hope you'll figure something out. Hang in there, Matt. P.S. Ain't your parents rich or something? I hear they moved to a B district. Can't you just ask them for a loan? Jeez, that's weird to think about. So they're having a baby, and they want to splice the baby as soon as it's available. It's like, on one hand, like I get it. It probably like if you do the splicing right off the bat, I would imagine that it probably has the most. It might have the most permanent and thorough and like perfect results if you get it while they're growing, like before they grow into an adult and everything. That's my logic. That's my logical interpretation based on not knowing anything about gene splicing at all. But the idea of that happening to somebody before they even have a chance to be aware of themselves or even fully conscious as a human being, the huge decisions being made, which is what parents do anyway, but that's like a whole new level of scary decisions made by your parents. Ari, I'm coming for you. Dear sir, we at Ballard Genetics and Augmentations are deeply saddened by the fact that you are unsatisfied by the results of your gene splicing therapy. BGNA employs only the best experts in their field and uses state-of-the-art equipment in order to meet all of the patient's needs. However, we fully acknowledge our patients' rights to have immensely high expectations, even if, objectively speaking, they would be found unrealistic. While we are unable to provide you with the specific details regarding your treatment, we would like to remind you that in cases requiring the use of genetic material from extinct species, in this instance, Canis lupus, wolves are extinct? That sucks. Our experts compose unique strains obtained from our gene library. Unfortunately, we are not able to provide you with a list of donor species, or to deny whether a given species was used in the procedure. We would also like to remind you that the aforementioned facts we stated in no uncertain terms in the procedural contract. Finally, we feel obligated to inform you that malicious DNA tampering is a very serious accusation, one that should not be leveled lightly, unless one has strong evidence to support their claim. Any unfounded accusations against BGNA made publicly or in further correspondence will be seen as slanderous and met with decisive legal actions. Sincerely, BGNA Patient Support. And that's when he said, I'm coming for you, to them. So he's probably planning on suing them or even attacking them at that point. Jeez. So he started off with this werewolf obsession. Then he wanted to like splice himself into becoming part wolf via BGNA. And then probably after that, he started hunting down people that do aftermarket, like, physical augments with the mechanics, so that he could go further down that line. And that's what he was probably talking about when he was going, when he was talking about it not being enough and stuff like that. When he was on the audio log, I think that was the audio log when he talked about it not being enough. It's that he was trying to go further and further down the line. So that's where he went next, is he did the gene splicing and it wasn't enough yet, so then he went on to do the parts and replacements. The concern is what are these packages he's sending to his family? One thing I could think is that maybe, like, if they're cutting pieces of him off or anything like that for the mechanical modding, like maybe he's just sending that to his parents. Dude's got some serious issues to work out, and he probably won't. Look at those. He got all wolfy, but there's like these weird like nightmare boils and things. Like, yeah, see, there's the parts where he's taking off chunks of his body. Yeah, and we knew he was doing that because when I looked at his arm, and you could tell like his arm was not attached. Like there was clearly like just these long extendo things sticking out. Like it was just is all machine. So he might be sending them the remaining pieces of his body. His hands and feet are still his hands and feet though. That's weird. I'm surprised that he has hands and feet that are real at the end, and that's not part of the mods. His face was the least lucky part, it looks like. I feel like it really feels like the whole attempt at gene therapy just doesn't go as planned. Look at this stuff. Looks like he's old enough to have gray in his hair. Like he's not exactly some like rebellious 20-something going out on his own and being spiteful towards his parents. He's old enough to have gray in his hair. What? What is the point of this exactly? It's got a thing on the inside, so it's like you can't put your face in this thing. It's not shaped the right way. Is this him putting together like a werewolf mask of some kind because his real face looks not right? Try to protect your identity or something. I don't know how well you can disguise your identity when you're that augmented that your entire body is a recognizable thing.
A splicer, a lunatic, and a junkie. Perfect combo.
This guy put himself through a lot. How does this even fit on the mannequin? I don't think it can. That's metal, right? Yeah, I don't think this can fit on the mannequin. It's like clipping through it. There's clearly like a metal thing on the inside. And that's not the problem with this thing. Huh. He's probably stealing these mechanical parts from people. Maybe even attacking people and ripping out their bodies in some cases. How's that brick work? It's all warped. Somehow curves? Huh. But he's probably killing people and ripping the mechanics right out of their bodies, or stealing from the mod shops themselves and then selling that stuff off. Which is not a great idea, really, because he's going to run out of shops really fast in the local area. And he's not going to have much more he can do. But he seems to be doing this in order to support his drug habit and his modding habit that are all quite expensive.